couple of days of training camp. How's it felt? Obviously a couple of pretty well paced skates as well. How did it feel to get a couple in?
Good. Just good to be around the boys again. I think the skates have been good. A lot of pace. Not a lot of breaks, which is what you're looking for this time of year. You want to get up to speed and into shape. And I think, so far it's been good. Obviously a little bit of system stuff, and for the most part, just getting your pace and execution back to where it should be.
Cobb was talking yesterday about just the physical toll that it took on him, winning a cup and then having that short summer and coming back and playing a full season. You're one of the guys who has been through that. Can you just how hard is it on the body?
Yeah, it's a lot. The regular season's long, and then you add in obviously the playoff runs. My experience was a little different, obviously, with a little bit of the COVID seasons, and our two cup runs were in the same calendar year, but less regular season games, so different, but still, playoffs are the same, demand on the body, and I think, it's reasonable to say that it's tough not having the off season to get what you need and train the way that you're used to training and getting your body ready for the upcoming year. So, there's always silver linings and things, and I think the long off season will benefit Naz. I know it helped me, and I had some issues that I had to address as well, and it gave me time to do that. So, hopefully if everybody uses it the right way, it can be a source of momentum moving forward for us.
For you, even last off season, you still round 2 of the playoffs. Could you change or restructure the way you set up your off season this year with a little extra time, or how did it look for you?
Yeah, completely for me. Like I said, I had some injuries that were lingering from playoff runs, and I hadn't had time to address them the way that I needed to, and this summer gave me that opportunity, so allowed me to address them, and then on top of that, it does allow you to structure your training a different way. I think typically you want to get the way that I train, I want to get a strength building month in, and then I want to build on top of that with some more high rep things like that, and then get into like the high intensity interval stuff and things that are more game like. But with the shortened off seasons, you pretty much go right into that high intensity stuff, and you sacrifice the building blocks of your training. So, like I said, it can be a great tool if you use it the right way. Not that everybody does, but I think we have good pros on this team that probably put in those types of summers, and I think it'll help us.
It's the early days, obviously, but what have been your impressions of the atmosphere around the guys in the locker room? That there's some changes in there, but what have been your impressions in the early days of training camp with how things are?
It's been good. I think, like I said, I think there's always excitement to be around the boys again. You miss it when you're at home during the summers, and you kind of crave just that camaraderie, and it's good to be back. And I think it's pretty obvious that the energy's high. I think everybody's talked about Connie and Husk and their excitement and their new roles, and returning guys have high expectations to bounce back, and I think that's exciting. And then young guys have opportunities to make the team, and I think how could that not be exciting for those guys? So. All around, I think there's a lot of energy and a lot of joy coming to the rink, and that's ultimately what hockey's all about, and it's going to make us better.
Have you noticed much difference, X's and O's or systems-wise, from one year to the next or one camp to the next?
A little bit. It's still early, but the D zone's been restructured a little bit. It's a system that I've played a little bit in my career, so some familiarity, but you still got to relearn it, and as a group, we got to really come together and learn that. But they're going to put their touch on everything. I would imagine. Every coach has their certain style of play that they want to implement, and it's really up to the players to commit to learning that new style. And the quicker you make that commitment and learn it, the quicker it's going to be a successful system.
You would have seen Dustin Wolf make his NHL debut last April, and you're in his group here now. Just as an NHL shooter, what do you see in him as a goalie?
He can be frustrating. He's a guy that you think you got it, you got a hole, and it's just as quickly it's gone. So he's he's a great athletic goalie. I think he's going to have that knock on him for being a smaller, undersized guy, which just the way the game is now, they're all enormous goalies that are coming into the league. But I haven't gotten enough time watching him to really evaluate, but in my short time with him, he's been great. And, I more so would rely on just reviews of his teammates and what I've heard about the way he played last year and how he would steal games and their confidence in him. And it goes a long way when you hear that.
Is it fun having these young guys around? Like you said, that they've got that energy and they know there's opportunity. But as a guy who's been around the league for a while, do you feed off it, I guess?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You kind of reminds you how you felt coming into camps as a kid and that nervous energy and that excitement. And, ultimately I enjoy being around them because I want to help these guys and I want them to be able to be around me to ask questions and around any of the guys here that have been around for a while and because it's going to make them better and that's going to make our team better. And I think, just for whatever reason, the past few years there hasn't been a ton of it. And I think, sometimes that new energy can be good for the group, and I think it's good for me as well.
So you're obviously very comfortable in sort of being a part of the leadership group with this team at this point?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been around for a while. I've had some success in this league, and I know how hard it is, and I know how demanding it is. And for me, it's just like I said, any way that I can answer questions, help guys, make them better. It's just going to make us better, and I think ultimately that's what excites me about that role is the opportunity to help the team be better through making these individuals better.
We're all going to be debating who's the captain for this team, and we know that that's a big decision coming up. Do you have any thoughts on who sort of fits that role?
We've got some good candidates. I think, it's not my decision, but there's a lot of guys in that room that I'd feel comfortable with wearing the C. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's going to be a group. It's going to be by committee. There needs to be a support group to make him a great captain, and guys need to lean on each other. But I think, from my understanding, it'll be announced soon. Everyone's anticipation will be satisfied here, but it's going to be the right choice. And I think, like I said, ultimately we're a group, and we need all the veterans to step up and do their jobs.
What do you think about the process? Ryan Huska was telling us yesterday it's not going to come down to a vote. It's going to rely a lot on meetings with all the different leadership groups. How do you feel about that process in terms of how the captain will be determined from that as opposed to a vote?
Well, I think there's a lot of trust in Connie and Husk. I think they're going to make the right decision. And I think we also have the group that, everyone's going to be happy for the guy that gets that role. And whoever it is, they're going to grow into it, right? Like, it's new for whoever it is. We don't have any guys that have captained NHL teams, and there's always going to be a learning curve there. But like I said, it's our group's goal to make that guy, comfortable in that position. And the quicker we can do that, the more success this team will have having just somebody wearing that C and representing that position.
Have you ever been on a team that voted for its captain? I know it's kind of different people have their opinions on that. Have you ever been on a group where the players elected the captain?
Not that I can remember. I mean, I pretty much had captains, on the teams when I got there, and they were pretty solidified guys. Andy Green was a great captain. Stammer, he was just he is Tampa, and he kind of already just embodied what that role meant there. So, not in my experience, but there's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just as long as you have trust in the guys that are making that decision, I think it's going to be the right choice.